You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I'm your host, Coach Steph, and today I'm going to be talking about consistency and specifically a tenacious mindset when it comes to consistency. The entire month of March, I'm going to be talking about consistency in different ways. So definitely stay tuned. If you are not locked into this podcast, the next few podcast episodes are going to be really good. I'm going to talk about consistency as it relates to being more consistent during having a busy life or a busy season in your life. Consistency as it relates to grief and loss, consistency as it relates to temptation. There are so many aspects of being consistent. And the first one that I'm going to tackle today is having a tenacious mindset, because this is going to be the foundation for everything moving forward. If you're not thinking like a consistent person, then the strategy won't really matter because the strategy is there. The strategy is actually easy to implement. The hard part comes in when your brain is telling you that you don't have time, that you don't want to do it, or that you don't have enough motivation to get it done. So the first thing is first, having a tenacious mindset. This does not mean being mean to yourself, okay? So if we really thought about it, you already know a lot of the steps that are going to help you be successful in your weight loss journey. We pretty much know the basics: to drink more water, that we need enough protein, that we need to move our body, we need to get our workouts in, we need to get our steps in. We need to eat fruits and vegetables, right? Like we already know that. There's not a knowledge gap in terms of that. It's more so the application. So tenacity means refusing to quit on yourself even when things don't go perfectly. And I'm going to give you some ways to think about having a tenacious mindset. So we're going to talk about 5 traits of women who develop a tenacious mindset and what that means and how it is going to help radically transform your consistency with your health habits. If you want to be the best and healthiest version of yourself, you are going to need to have a tenacious mindset. You cannot have a fit lifestyle and a fit body without a fit mind. Tip number 1, having a tenacious mindset means problem solving instead of quitting. So this means we are reflecting, we are correcting, we are checking in with ourselves, we are auditing ourselves, we are adjusting. Tenacious people treat obstacles like a puzzle, not a failure, right? I always tell my clients, you can decide to win or learn. I'm going to win or I'm going to learn. So let's take an example of eating on your plan, right? Maybe you planned out your meals, you even prepped, you thought you had it down starting on Monday, but then something happened on Wednesday. You started emotionally eating. You didn't want what you meal prepped. So all your meal prep went down the drain and you had to throw it out by the end of the week. Instead of spiraling and being really upset and frustrated with yourselves, beating yourself up because here we go again, why did I do that? You treat it like a puzzle. What happened? What was the trigger? How can I adjust if I ever get triggered like that again? What do I want to do differently next time? That is a tenacious mindset. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about being mean to yourself. Holding yourself accountable doesn't mean punishing yourself. It means figuring out, okay, how can I not ever do that again? Or maybe I'm not getting my walks in. Why am I not getting my walks in? I'm going to get really, really curious, right? So you don't just want to say, I'm terrible at being consistent. I talked to so many ladies over this week who said that that was their main problem. Is like, I just can't stay consistent. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, what are you doing about that? Have you sat down with yourself again and again? Because this is not a one-time conversation that you have with yourself. This is over and over and over again. And you have to be willing to come back to the planning table, to come back and check in with yourself and say, okay, how did that go? What do I want to change, right? What do I need to adjust this week? Look at your schedule. Was it unrealistic? Were my workouts too long? Were mornings too chaotic and I need to do my workouts in the afternoon? Right? You have to adjust the system instead of abandoning the goal. So consistent people are not consistent because they're perfect. They're consistent because they audit, they refine, they adjust, they keep going, and they make adjustments to the scope, but they stick to the schedule as much as possible. So I might not be able to get in a complete 30-minute workout, but maybe I'm going to take a 15-minute power walk instead. And that counts as consistency. Part of it is that we don't have a whole hour to work out, but you work out 30 minutes. Because you didn't work out the entire hour, you count that against yourself and you say, I'm not consistent because I didn't get the entire hour in, versus counting it as a win that you did 30 minutes. That is happening a lot. I bet you that you might be more consistent than you actually think, but you're not giving yourself credit for it because you feel like it doesn't count because it wasn't the full thing that I had originally planned. Okay. So 2, consistent people make mistakes without self-sabotaging. So instead of over catastrophizing your missed expectation and turning a small mistake into a big disaster, for example, missing one of your workouts becomes, I'm falling off again, so I need to start over on Monday, or one unplanned meal becomes, I ruined everything. Instead, it looks like, okay, I overate this. Again, getting curious. Why did I do that? Understanding that it's okay and giving yourself grace and just asking yourself, what's the next right move the next time? Mistakes are normal. They are data points, and you can actually learn. Think about all the mistakes that you have the opportunity to learn from. Like, think back of every diet you've done, every meal plan you tried, every boot camp you signed up for, every program you paid for. If you made a mistake, if you totally abandoned the entire thing, if you fell off halfway through, what you could have done is go back and say, why did that happen? Did this meal plan really work for me? Or did I just buy it because I thought it would help me to get the result, but it actually doesn't align with my health goals or my lifestyle or my preferences? Maybe that's why I fell off. So then I can take that information and I can then say, okay, well, what does align? And then I can practice and execute that and then continue to tweak, versus quitting or saying, you know what, I'll just do this when I come back from vacation. I'll just do this when I come back, from my birthday month. I've had a lot of people tell me that they're going on vacation, or it's their birthday month, or some other thing. It's a busy season. They're taking care of a family member right now, and they don't have the time or capacity to give to taking care of themselves. But I would argue that, again, your tenacious mindset is, I got to figure this out. Because if taking care of my health is the most important thing that I will ever do, and if I'm going to eat anyway, I'm literally going to eat every day anyway, I might as well figure out how to go on vacation, to enjoy my birthday month, to take care of my loved ones, and take care of myself at the same time, because they're not mutually exclusive. You can do both. And as a matter of fact, you will be required to do both if you want to be consistent. Consistency isn't you showing up for yourself just when it's convenient, right? That tenacious mindset means I'm going to take this new season in my life where maybe I am way busier at work and think, okay, I don't have as much time as I used to have. What can I get done? How does my normal routine need to change and adjust during this season of my life, versus saying, well, I'll just deal with it when I come back. That is always going to keep you gaining and losing the same 10, 15 pounds. So making sure that, number 1, you're troubleshooting. Number 2, that you make mistakes without self-sabotaging. You learn from it and you make adjustments from that. And if you do that, think of all the times that you have quote unquote messed up and how much you could have learned by now, how much you could have perfected by now by collecting the data on what did not work, right? So we always want to be thinking about, how can I continue to show up for myself in the most imperfect ways, because your plan won't go to plan. That's okay. We want to plan for the obstacles. There are going to be times when you're sick. There are going to be times when you plan something and you don't actually execute the plan. So it's not about restarting fresh every time and trying to get a fresh slate. You got to allow it to be messy when it's messy and say, okay, I didn't quite execute this the way that I wanted to. What needs to change? And that is a repeated conversation every single week and maybe even every single night, right? So number 3, having a can-do attitude. I want you to be solution focused. If you are always complaining about yourself, about what you didn't do, bringing up how you quote unquote failed, then that's where your energy is going. That's where your focus is going. And what you're not doing is creating a solution. So if you have a tenacious mindset, you're not really asking, dang, why is this so hard? You're asking, how can I make this work? So some examples. Again, I don't have time for a full workout. I'm going to do 20 minutes. I have a busy schedule, so I'm going to make sure I prep some of my meals. And it might just be I'm prepping my snacks and my hardest meal to eat healthy, which typically is dinner for a lot of my clients. Sometimes it's lunch based on what kind of work you do. But another example, instead of just saying, I'm just going to go on my vacation and come back and then I'll figure it out. It's like, no, on vacation, I'm going to walk in the mornings and I'm still going to have like a high protein breakfast and I'm going to take snacks with me while I go out and I'm shopping and enjoying my vacation. That might be the plan. It doesn't have to look like you taking a scale on vacation and weighing out your food or denying yourself alcohol if you're going to be out. But it might be limiting it and saying, hey, I'm going to only have one drink, maybe 2 or 3 of the nights, and then the rest of the time I won't have a drink. Again, this is going to be person specific. And also each time you go on vacation, you might have different rules for yourself based on the situation, who you're going with, how long you're going to be there. So don't think ever, there's never a situation where you're just like, I'm not going to be mindful and make a plan of action for my health, even during grief and loss, right? A strategic plan can be, I'm just going to rest. That's the plan. It doesn't have to do with doing more. You might as well make some simple rules for yourself that you can actually practice, because it kind of goes into all or nothing. Like, if I can't do this picture perfect way of doing it, then I'll just have to wait until I come back and I can do everything, versus taking some of those habits with you while you're on vacation or while you're in your busy season. Okay. So a tenacious mindset is hard to discourage because they're always looking for a way forward. They're always looking for a solution and trying to figure out, okay, why do I keep missing this workout on a Friday evening? Oh, maybe because I don't really align with working out on a Friday evening and I need to move that to a Saturday morning. A lot of times my clients will try to cram in all of their 4 workouts during the week, and they're like, man, I'm having a hard time getting up in the morning, but I'm really tired when I come home in the afternoon and I'm just not getting my workouts in. And I'm like, well, if you work out on a Saturday and or a Sunday, then you only have to work out, 2 times maybe during the week. And that will take a lot of pressure off of your weekday to have to do everything when you have a little bit more time to do it on the weekend. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that can work. And it's something as simple as that. Having a can-do attitude, having a solution-focused attitude will help you problem solve, help you workshop the actual issues instead of just saying, I just need to work harder. I just need to be more disciplined. I just need to do it. That is so unhelpful to just tell your brain, I just need to do it, because you're not doing it consistently. So now let's break it down. I think that's one of the things that I do very well, just my brain in terms of like breaking down a problem step by step. That's why the formula is so effective and so easy to implement, because the way that I think about it is like, okay, you take the big chunk and then you take the big chunk and you create smaller steps. And to me, it's very sequential. It's very logical. And it ends up being really easy to follow for a lot of my clients. So the next time that you are having an issue with getting yourself to take action, really take the big step that you want to take and break it down into smaller steps. And I promise you, it'll be a lot easier to execute, at least some of it, if not all of it. And then number 4, emotional regulation and regulating your nervous system. So someone with a tenacious mindset knows how to regulate their emotions, because when you are triggered, upset, there's something happening in your world that has you dysregulated and you feel emotionally overwhelmed, you feel stressed, you feel burned out, you feel frustrated, you have a lot of negative self-talk. A tenacious mindset says, all right, what do I need? you have a strategy for getting yourself to calm down. Because whenever we are triggered in a certain way, we're not even accessing the logical parts of our brain. And sometimes if you've ever been in a tough spot, this can be in your health journey or something else. And maybe you're emotionally overwhelmed and you feel stuck, even though you know you're not stuck, but it feels hard to be creative. It feels hard to be imaginative or to workshop the problem. That's because sometimes when we are dysregulated in our nervous system, we don't even have access to the more logical parts of our brain. And so that's why stress management is so important. Having tools in your back pocket, like we teach inside of the formula, that will help you with your stress management to be able to regulate your nervous system so that you can get back to the problem solving parts of your brain. And kind of the way I think about managing stress is through a chronic stress management system, meaning like long term, you have things that you enjoy. You give yourself rest, right? Like these are things that are repetitive. These are things that you do on a daily basis or weekly basis that are not acutely trying to put out a fire. If you're only trying to get yourself to a peaceful state during an acute disaster or stressful situation, it's going to be really hard to do that. So we need to think about long-term stress management tools that we need to be doing even before we feel like we need them. So if that's meditation, journaling, taking walks, being in nature, whatever that is for you, making sure that you implement those before you have an acute stressful situation. And then you have your acute response to a stressor where you know how to get yourself to calm down. Maybe you're doing some deep breathing. Maybe you like EFT tapping. Maybe you like cold showers, right? So making sure that you understand how to regulate your nervous system. So this means noticing when you're triggered, right? Noticing when you're getting overwhelmed, not letting your emotions dictate your decisions. Because a lot of times it's not that we don't know what to do to be consistent. It's that we're now not feeling it. We're now sad, depressed. We have anxiety. We're overthinking. And it makes us feel like, man, I just want to lay in my bed. So learning how to process those emotions, let that energy kind of move through you so that you can get back to your habits, right? Learning how to pause and learning how to respond instead of react. So an example might be, maybe you are having a bad day and your old pattern might be emotional eating, quitting, micro quitting, binging, but a tenacious mindset might say, man, today was a tough day. Let me take a breath and let me make the next best choice. A lot of times I tell my clients too, did you have a bad day or did you have a bad moment? I was coaching a client one day. Something very distressing happened to her in the morning time, and she complained about it. She was upset about it. She cried about it. We talked about it the entire time on our call. And I was like, you let that one moment create chaos in your entire day instead of compartmentalizing it and letting it go. There is an art, and I'm sure a science, to letting things go and get that out of your own energy. You don't have to carry around that bad moment and let someone else agitate you all day. Practice letting that go so that you can get back to the parts of your brain that are more logical. You can get back to feeding yourself well, moving well, bringing your energy and your power back to yourself. Okay. And then number 5, identity over effort. So having a tenacious mindset means that you're focused on who you're becoming and not just what you are doing. Having a tenacious mindset is thinking, I'm someone who takes care of my body versus thinking, I'm trying to lose weight. You see the difference? You see that one is an identity and who am I? Who am I becoming? This shift creates more self-trust, and self-trust is built through small promises that you keep to yourself, showing up to your workouts, following through on your habits, continuing even when motivation fades, right? And so when you are focused on your identity and you are creating identity-based goals, you are focusing on your values. I want to be a self-disciplined, passionate, focused, integral person. Integral meaning I want to be a person of integrity because if I say I'm going to do something, I go and do it because I said that I was going to do this. A tenacious mindset asks, where do I want to be a year from now? Where do I want to be 6 months from now? How am I going to feel right after I get out of this workout? And I want you to focus on the benefit. I want you to focus on the person that you're becoming, that ideal, healthiest version of yourself. And that needs to motivate you. How you're going to feel, how you're going to look, what kind of great example you're setting for your kids and your grandkids to live a healthy lifestyle and really take care of yourself. So it's not so much about putting a whole lot of effort and punishing yourself and burning yourself out. It is really about focusing on who you're becoming along the way, making that your primary goal. So when you're going for a walk or you're going to go plan, I want you to be thinking about that version of yourself and have her in your mind and how good it feels to be walking in that identity. So just to recap, we talked about problem solving instead of quitting, making mistakes without self-sabotaging, having a can-do attitude, emotional regulation, and identity over just focusing on effort. So if you struggle with consistency, number one, make sure you are locked into this podcast. Go ahead and follow. Go ahead and share this podcast to somebody who's struggling with consistency. And I bet you know at least 3 women who are focused and struggling with being consistent in their weight loss journey. So go ahead and send this to them right now. Struggling with consistency does not mean that you're lazy or undisciplined. A lot of us were just never taught how to build a tenacious mindset. But the good news is a tenacious mindset can be built. It can be developed over time. And you can learn the skill of problem solving instead of quitting, of bouncing back from your mistakes, of regulating your emotions, of thinking long term and setting identity-based goals and becoming the woman who follows through. And this is exactly what I teach inside of the Fit Figure Formula. Yes, we're going to focus on nutrition. We're going to focus on strength training. But even more importantly, we help you develop and build a mindset and the habits that allow you to stay consistent long term to see real transformation. And this was a direct quote from several of my clients. This has changed my life. This is not about 16 weeks of coaching. This is about all that you are going to learn and implement step by step with my customized formula. And you're going to take that with you and integrate it into your actual lifestyle. So no more saying, I'm going to go on vacation and then come back. No, I'm going to give you the vacation framework so that your health is an integral part of every single thing that you do. It is not a separate thing from the rest of your life. So if you're ready to get consistent and finally develop a healthy mindset, a fit mindset that helps you to keep going and get that fit body that you deserve and to be healthy in your body as we're aging, you should apply to the Fit Figure Formula. Right now, enrollment is open. You can head to the link in the show notes to apply. When you click on that link, you can book a one-on-one sales call with me. And on that call, we'll get to know each other a little bit better. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. I want to get down to the deep root of the reason why you don't have your goal yet. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step strategy for how I can help you inside of the formula. So you don't have to be perfect to be consistent. I teach my clients how to get imperfect results that they can keep and build that tenacious mindset so that they are always going to keep going. And I would love to help you next. If you guys go to my social media at Stephanie Riles on Facebook or Stephanie Riles Dietitian on Instagram, all of the testimonials and all of the screenshots of client wins are 99% of those are from ladies who are 40 plus. Don't think just because you are 40 plus that you cannot lose weight or that your hormones are running the show. If you're struggling with perimenopause or menopause, I have already done a 4-part series in January 2026. Go back through the podcast and look for the episodes on menopause. I did a 4-part series. That's going to help you so much. And then if you want to implement those things, because information is not transformation, implementation is transformation. And I walk you through everything that you need to do to be successful even during perimenopause and menopause inside of the Fit Figure Formula. Again, you can head to the show notes to apply. Can't wait to help you, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.